Off the Cuff is supported by Patreon. Join today and become an honorary producer with in-show credit, plus get other off-the-cuff gifts and merchandise. Hi everybody and welcome to the show. Today's show is all going to be about curbing those snack attacks. Oh yeah, I'm very susceptible to them. I can have a snack attack anytime, after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, when I'm sleeping. Okay, maybe not when I'm sleeping, but sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I need a nosh. So it came to me, nuts. Yeah, nuts are low carb and they're delicious, and you can flavor them. So I'm actually going to roast cashews 3 different ways. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to make a homemade nut snack bar. Yeah, no bake. It goes in the refrigerator. It's going to be tasty, and it's going to be satisfying, and it's going to be nutty and delicious. So what we have here is a theme show. Oh yeah, it's all about nuts. Now, the 3 different types of roasted cashews are going to be garlic roasted cashews, spicy roasted cashews, and honey roasted cashews. Oh boy, sweet and savory. As for the nut bars, 3 different types of nuts, peanut butter, keto honey, and even some sugar-free chocolate chips. And it's no bake, like I said. It goes right in the refrigerator. This is going to be awesome. I love a theme show. I mean, what can you say? This show is nuts!
Captain Buddy!
What the hell was that?
It's just me, Captain Buddy.
Captain Buddy?
What's the matter? You've never seen a superhero before?
A superhero.
That's right. You said the show is nuts. So you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Well, I think one of us is already there. By the way, that line you used is from Batman 1989.
I'm the defender of the weak, the protector of the oppressed, the enemy of all evil. I'm also a notary public. You got anything you need notarized? I only charge $3.
I just wanted a small little cooking show. That's all I wanted. Was that too much to ask?
I so understand. If I met me, I'd be amazed too.
Well, I'm not sure if amazed is quite the word for it.
Dude to Captain Bud. Dude to Captain Bud.
I gotta take this. Captain Bud here. Go ahead, dude.
Captain Bud. No sign of Thongar yet. Can I get a churro? I'm like, way hungry.
Yes, but keep your eyes peeled. Oh, and get me one.
Just one?
7. I want 7.
Okie dokie, Captain Bud.
That's my sidekick, dude.
Oh, okay. Hey, who's this Thongar?
My arch enemy, my nemesis, an evil genius who thirsts for world domination. You've heard of Elon Musk, right?
Oh, of course, sure.
Yeah, well, Thongar is almost as bad.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, so do you belong to a group?
I do.
Oh, the Avengers?
Nope.
Justice League?
Nope.
Justice Society? The Defenders?
Nope. Nope.
Then what group do you belong to?
Weight Watchers.
Oh, okay. Now I think I know why you're here.
Well, you know, every superhero has his weakness. Superman has kryptonite, the Green Lantern has yellow and wood for some reason. I have carbohydrates.
Join the club.
Thongar one time tortured me with a box of Krispy Kremes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, then he almost finished me by sticking me in the middle of a giant soft-serve ice cream cone.
How did you get out of that one?
I licked my way out. I had brain freeze for a month.
Oh, well, don't worry about it, Captain Bud. On this show, you're going to have 3 different types of roasted flavored cashews and a homemade savory sweet nut bar.
That's great. I'll finally be able to defeat Thongar.
No, I still think he's crazy.
Craig, can I ask you for a favor?
Sure, what is it?
Well, I drove here in the Buddymobile.
The Buddymobile?
Yeah.
That must be cool.
Well, it has its moments.
Is it customized like the Batmobile?
Better. It's a 2013 Prius.
The Buddymobile is a 2013 Prius.
Well, I drive rideshare part-time, and it's great on gas. Anyway, back to that favor.
Yeah.
Do you validate
Oh, no. Sorry.
nuts?
Oh, actually, look, right here. The ingredients.
I can't see
I told you this show is going to be nuts. Apparently, it's nuts in more ways than one. Anyway, it's time for the ingredients. Let's go with the roasted cashews first. Now, I'm going to show you 3 types and 3 flavors of roasted cashews. They all start with 1 cup of raw cashews and 1 tablespoon of ghee or unsalted butter. Let's start with those honey roasted cashews. 1 tablespoon keto honey, 1 tablespoon granulated sweetener, 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now those spicy roasted cashews. 1/2 teaspoon chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon turmeric, and this is optional. 1 teaspoon or more or less of your favorite hot sauce. Actually, you don't have to have it at all, but I definitely will. Now for the garlic roasted cashews. 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and salt. And now for the low-carb nut bar. 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, melted. 1/2 cup of peanut butter. 1/3 of a cup of keto honey. 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. 1 teaspoon sea salt. 1 1/4 cups of salted roasted peanuts. 3/4 of a cup of roasted salted cashews. 3/4 of a cup of roasted almonds, and 1/2 cup of sugar-free chocolate chips. All right, let's roast our cashews. Now, when you're roasting and flavoring cashews, it's best to start with raw cashews. Roast them for about 5 minutes, then you flavor them, and you're good to go. We have our ingredients. Now for the honey, I'm not gonna measure it out because it's sticky, so I'm gonna eye a tablespoon. Anyway, we have our pan going. Now the first thing we want to do is put our ghee or our unsalted butter in it. Of course, there it goes. We're going to wait for this to completely melt. In go your 1 cup of raw cashews. Now we're going to keep stirring them. We're going to roast these, get them all covered with the butter too, for about 5 minutes until they turn brown. That's when you know they're ready to be to add flavors. I can already see little brown spots, like golden brown spots on some of these cashews, which means we're doing it right. We're not doing it too fast, and we're not doing it too hot. Okay, from the looks of this, it looks like we're about 2/3 done. We're just going to roast these for just a little bit longer. I'll just see if I can get one on here to show you. That's a good one. Let's see if I can get it out. You see? There you go. That's the color you want on these. That tells you they are roasted. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the heat now that they're done. And I'm going to kind of group them in the middle here. And in goes my tablespoon of keto honey. That's about right. And mix. Now I have the heat off at this point, so that's good. I'm letting the residual heat in the pan work for this. That's fine. Now let's put in our granulated sugar. Now what I'm using is monk fruit allulose mixture is what I'm using. I'm going to stir that in. All right. Now in goes our cinnamon. Oh yeah. Now it's going to put in our salt now. The salt is for flavor. It'll also help absorb some of the moisture. Oh boy, this looks really good. I'm very tempted to taste it, but I don't do my tasting till the end of the show. All right. I almost licked this. I want to save it for the end. Let's take our honey roasted cashews and put them in a bowl. Oh. Okay. Hey, let's do the garlic ones now. All right, time for the garlic roasted nuts. In goes the unsalted butter. Plop, plop. There you go. This doesn't change. We're going to roast the cashews the same way for all three different flavors. Nothing changes there. So I'm going to skip past a lot of this. All right, we're almost done with the second batch here. They're getting nice and golden brown on all sides. Keep them moving, keep them moving. We're about to add the ingredients to make these garlic roasted cashews. I'm turning off the heat. Let's go. First off, oh, there's a straggler. First off, the garlic goes in. It says the recipe says a teaspoon. Of course, you can use more or less. I gotta tell you, I use more. I love garlicky stuff, so I used about 2 teaspoons. Use your discretion. If you love garlic, go for it. If you want just a hint of garlic, well, adjust accordingly. Okay, so the garlic is mixed in. Now the chili powder. There goes our chili powder. And mix that in real good. Oh yeah. I can actually smell. I don't have a very good sense of smell. I never have, but man, I can smell this. Oh, it smells spicy. That's good. That's good. That's what we're going for. All right, now it's ready for our salt and pepper, 1/4 teaspoon each. Mix that in there. Oh, 2 runaways. Very tempted to taste, but like I said, I'm not going to do it till the end. Oh yeah, it's already time to get rid of these. It's time to plate these, and here we are. I lost a few again. All right, our garlic roasted cashews. Now let's do those spicy ones. All right, we're about 3/4 of the way done of roasting these cashews to do our spicy roasted cashews. We're about to add these. This is also dry ingredients with 1 wet. I said it was optional to put in hot sauce. Well, I'm taking that option. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Like I said, we're about done. A little bit more. And these will be ready for flavoring. Let's put in our chili powder first. In goes the chili powder. We're going to mix this in real well. Yeah, I can feel it again. I feel it in my eyes and I feel it in my nose. Good, 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 good. All right, now the turmeric. By the way, turmeric is excellent for you. If you have arthritis or some kind of inflammatory disease, turmeric is an excellent natural anti-inflammatory, just so you know. This goes in. The turmeric goes in. Stir it all up. All right, and now I'm putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of sriracha. Hot sauce. And you're gonna mix this in really well. Now I can, sinuses are getting cleared up, yay. Like I said, the hot sauce is totally optional. If you want it a little spicy, by all means, feel free to admit that. It doesn't make or break this recipe from what I've read. But man, I love hot and spicy. This is gonna be fun. There you go, your hot and spicy cashews. All right, our homemade flavored roasted cashews are standing by. Now let's make that nut bar. And you can use any kind of store-bought salted almonds, cashews, peanuts you want. Yeah, any kind of nuts. Hey, you know what else is nuts? Food facts. Nuts have been around a really long time. In a recent archaeological dig in Israel, researchers found that nuts were part of the prehistoric human diet over 750,000 years ago. 750,000 years, I double checked it. Man, that's nuts. pun intended. In that same dig, they identified 50 pitted stones that were used to crack open the nuts. They also found 7 different varieties of nuts that were consumed, including wild walnuts, 2 different varieties of acorns and also pistachios, and water lilies and water chestnuts. Meanwhile, in the Fertile Crescent, remains of walnuts were found in what's now known as Iraq that dated back to 50,000 BC. BC, yeah, that's before cable. The Greeks and the Romans were big fans of walnuts. The Romans actually considered them to be food of the gods. They actually called them Juglans regia, yeah, that was named after the biggest planet in our solar system, Jupiter. The Romans were very innovative too. They actually used the nuts for oil, and they would grind up the nuts into a powder and use it to thicken foods, much like we use cornstarch today. 4,000 to 8,000 years ago in North America, indigenous Americans actually used a pitted stone and a hammerstone to break open nuts. The nuts they had most often were beech nuts, chestnuts, hickory nuts, and walnuts. Now, they would eat the nuts whole, or they would grind it into a flour, or even a nut butter. Take that, Romans. Remains of pecans were found in Texas that dated back 6,100 years ago. It makes sense. Pecans are native to North America. Wait a minute. I just said pecans, and then I said pecans. I wonder which is the correct way to pronounce that. You know what? Let's ask Professor Craig.
That's actually a great question. It depends on where you live. If you're in the Northeast, you call it pecans. In Texas, you call it pecans. And if you're anywhere else, you call it pecan. Yeah, the Algonquins actually had the word pecani, which meant nut that's easy to crack. Science is great.
The rarest nut of them all is the macadamia nut, and I love them. Now, opposed to popular belief, they're not indigenous to Hawaii. They actually come from the rainforests of Queensland, Australia. Yep. They were introduced to Hawaii in the 19th century, and since then, Hawaii is the only state in the United States that cultivates macadamia. The hazelnut has some distant origins too, also known as the cob nut or the Spanish nut. The hazelnut was actually mentioned in manuscripts in China that date back to 2838, where it was said to have been one of the 5 sacred nourishments provided by God. The hazelnut was introduced to North America in a shipment of seeds in 1629. Today, both Oregon and Washington grow hazelnuts and provide 3% of the world's supply. The cashew, which is a large part of today's show, is indigenous to Brazil, but they've also been widely cultivated in India and Africa since the 16th century. Today, Hawaii is the only U.S. state that currently grows cashews. The Brazil nut is native to the Amazon basin in South America, and it's actually a seed, and there's 15 to 30 of them in a pod. Each pod can weigh up to 6 pounds. Now, they were first mentioned back in 1569 when a Spanish colonial officer fed them to his hungry troops. Georgia, New Mexico, and Texas lead the United States in the cultivation of pecans. Meanwhile, California leads in almonds, pistachios, and walnuts. As a matter of fact, California is the only state that grows almonds, and most of those are exported. And now it's time for nut trivia. The world's largest cashew tree is in Panamarim, Brazil. It took me 3 weeks to learn how to pronounce that. There it is. No. That's not a forest, that's one tree. It covers over 2 acres all by itself. That's the size equivalent of 2 United States football fields. Pistachio shells are not naturally red. They're dyed that way to make them more appetizing. The shells are actually white. The nut inside is actually green, and it gets that green pigment from the same pigment you find in spinach and kale. Brazil nuts can only be pollinated by one type of bee, and then they take 10 to 30 years to mature. Yep, that's the reason why when you get a can of mixed nuts, you only find like 1 or 2 Brazil nuts in there. Texas named the pecan tree their state tree in 1919. Almonds have an incredible shelf life. In your refrigerator, they can last up until 2 years. In my hand, about 4 seconds. The Greeks originally thought that hazelnuts could cure baldness and coughing. Baldness? Has anybody told The Rock that yet? Cashews are actually in the poison ivy family, but don't worry, only their outer shells can make you itchy and they're always discarded. 2/3 all the nuts consumed in the United States are peanuts. National Peanut Day is September 13th, while National Nut Day is October 22nd. The world famous mascot, Mr. Peanut, was created by a 13-year-old boy in 1916 when he won a contest. Yeah, his grand prize, $5. Talk about peanuts. And that's Food Facts. Now we make the nut bar. First, we have to melt a 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. That's 1 stick. While that's starting to melt, we also have to put in a 1/2 cup of peanut butter. You can use organic, sugar-free, whatever you want. I'm going to bring up the heat initially just to melt this, but I'm not going to do it on very high heat. I'm taking down the temperature now so we don't get a boil going. Putting it down to a 3. All right. Now let's put in our honey. Honey, I'm home. Here's the honey. Also the sea salt. And the vanilla. I hope this vessel, like I said, is big enough for it. Let's find out, shall we? It is. Okay, good. Now, I'm not going to put the I'm not going to put the chocolate chips in until later because I don't want it to melt. So, let's get our pan and put parchment paper on the pan. I'm just using a regular 8x8 pan. I cut the sides so it goes in here a little bit better, and that was a good move. All right. Now we're going to pour this in here. There we go. Let's get all of it in there. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes. I'm putting in the chocolate chips. I'm going to mix them up like that. Great. Now into the freezer for 1 hour. We have our nut bar out of the freezer. Let's see. There we go. And we can peel off the parchment paper. There we go. Now we cut it. And that would be good, I think, right about here. There, that's 1, 2. Now let's see how I cut this. Cut it this way. And cut it this way. Right here. There we have our low carb, sweet and savory nut bars.
Oh, nuts! A healthy snack. Oh, nuts! They never talk back.
Okay, that was actually a lot of fun and way easier than I thought. And what better way than to make homemade, wholesome snacks yourself that you know are low carb and better for you. I have a lot of tasting to do, but I'm just going to emphasize these are really not low calorie snacks, but they are low carb. So please figure that in when you're eating them, okay? So you can have a little bit and enjoy without the worry about spiking your blood sugar or getting you out of ketosis or whatever. Let's start off with the cashews. I have 3 different types to try. Okay, here are the garlic roasted cashews, all right? Let's take a taste. Oh yeah, delicious. You get the salt, the chili powder, oh there it is, and it's garlicky. Oh, delightful, absolutely delightful. Next up, here are the spicy roasted cashews. This was made with the turmeric. It's a little bit yellow, you can tell. Can't wait. Oh yeah, I forgot. How's the sriracha hot sauce? You get a nice burn in the mouth. I mean, I like it hot, so I would say, oh, nice, about 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 or 3. Very pleasant, really, really good. Now the honey roasted cashews. Now this honey, this keto honey is wonderful, but it makes it stick together. That's okay, it's almost like brittle. You can break it apart. Okay, here we go. Really, really good. Sweet. That's delightful too. Now it's time for the nut bar. Okay, these were really easy to make and they look fantastic. I cannot wait to taste this. By the way, once you make them, you put them in the freezer. After a half hour, pat them down tight and put it in for the second half hour. Then when you store them, I'm going to put them in Tupperware and keep them in the refrigerator so they stay nice and solid. Yeah. So here we go. Oh. Sweet, savory, nutty. You got the peanut butter, you got the honey. Holy smoke, is this good. This might be one of the most delicious items I've ever made. Oh God. I'm gonna finish this on camera. Oh my. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions, please send it to my email, offthecuffcraig@gmail.com. We're here again in another couple of weeks with a brand new episode. Until then, be well, eat good. On the next Off the Cuff, I take on a couple of titans of comfort food. Today, I'm going to share a recipe for a low-carb tuna casserole and low-carb golden buttery dinner rolls. And my Aunt Tilly drops by from the beyond.
Live, direct from the afterlife, it's me, Aunt Tilly.
In Food Facts, we take a look at that famous Thanksgiving dish, green bean casserole.
Oh, honey, nobody touched Aunt Martha's green bean casserole. Her feelings are going to be so hurt.
It's low-carb, yummy, comfort food 101. Come on, so good. I can't believe it's so low-carb. That's the next episode of Off the Cuff Healthy Cooking with Craig Mitchell. Alternate Sundays at 7:30 p.m. right here on Strong Island Entertainment.